I'm Kathy Mutlahlana. In the next half hour, we'll take a look at the day's top local and international stories. You're watching ENCA. Appeals for calm in Soweto tonight. 2 people are shot dead as foreign-owned shops are looted. Concern in the DA ahead of a no-confidence vote tomorrow against Tshwane Mayor Solim Simanga. And government is attempting to save the life of a South African sentenced to death in Vietnam. We begin with this tonight. Police are on standby in White City, Soweto, after 2 people died when residents went on the rampage. Foreign-owned shops are being looted because they allegedly sold expired food and counterfeit goods. The looting is now spreading to neighboring communities. Police officers in the area are calling for calm. One shop owner describes what happened to him when scores of people arrived at his store.
Actually, I was next to the door, and then I don't know, actually, immediately, I was feeling when they was kicking me by the stones on my head. I think 3 or 4 stones they was kicking me. I don't know, they are plenty guys. I think there are more than 100 people, so how can I say? And then somebody was throwing me outside there, and then they was kicking me. And we are 4 guys. So there are 2 guys, I don't know where they are, that 3 other 3 guys. I saw them, one of them, the cops was catch them to drop them there by the Morocco police station. I saw him there, because I think it's one of these guys, they was come to me. And my car also was outside of the shop, and I don't know where it's in now.
The DA says the EFF have turned against it and is in cahoots with the ANC. That's as yet another of the DA's mayors face a no-confidence vote. This time it'll be in Tshwane. Samkele Maseko has more.
In 2016, EFF councillors in Mokhale voted with the ANC. Those councillors were dismissed. What's changed? The only thing I can assume has changed is that Jacob Zuma was removed and a faction favorable to the EFF has now got back into government. It's the only thing I can think has changed.
South Africa is seeing the glaring shift in political dynamics in coalition politics. The DA is crying foul that the EFF has changed its mind and no longer votes with it. He says it's a coalition of the corrupt who want to loot the metros.
We are not going to be some puppets here to that part. We are here to work for the people. And if the UDM feel that they must find themselves in that position where at 2% they can be, who do you think is going to be dictating the shots in Nelson Mandela Bay? You have a mayor who's only got 2%. Who is he going to tell? What agenda is going to be driven there? So if you want to know what puppetry is, look there.
The ANC says it's following developments in Tshwane closely.
The developments in Tshwane are watched closely with keen interest. The region is participating in that matter, making sure that it does everything else in its power to also unite its own structures, reinforce the need to renew the ANC in this way, but assure the people of Tshwane that it is only an ANC-led administration in that city which can be able to fast-track the delivery of basic services.
Tshwane Mayor Solim Simanga says should the ANC and the EFF vote together, his history. Samkele Maseko, Johannesburg.
Steinhoff's former chief financial officer has told Parliament his hands are clean. Ben Lachranzi, was summoned before a joint parliamentary committee to answer questions on how the pensions of government employees were put at risk in his former company's near collapse. MPs were unfazed, however. All they want to know is if anyone will be held criminally accountable. Lester Kibbett has the story.
He was the chief bean counter behind the retail holding company, but Ben Lachranzi says he doesn't know how Steinhoff's profits came to be illegally inflated. also saying he only found out about alleged fraud in December 2017 and took the moral decision to resign a month later to protect the company.
From my side, I also do not think I did anything deliberately wrong, and I hope that I can shed some light on what went wrong.
Legrandzi has had bad news for the Public Investment Corporation and government's more than 1 million employees. The PIC is Steinhoff's second largest investor. It suffered greatly when Steinhoff shares lost some 95% of its value.
The pension funds have lost money up to where the share price is today. The company needs to focus on a restructure, and then the debt is still there. So in my mind, I do believe that the losses that the pension funds took up to date will in all likelihood be permanent losses.
Steinhoff says it's slowly turning the company around, but it won't go into specifics about who is to blame for the company's problems.
Where we are at the moment is a standstill with the banks. We've been given 3 months to go through our restructuring process. They have given us 3 years until 2021 to, in a considered way, consider which, go through our assets, decide which assets we will sell, how we will bring down the debt.
MPs are not impressed, saying Steinhoff is slow in providing information when the livelihoods of millions are at stake.
There's no progress substantially. You struck the deal with us for the meeting to be held in August. Frankly, there's no evidence why we shouldn't have had it in June. Secondly, you're not helping, and we're worried. You must give us legal arguments for why you won't answer specific questions. You have to give a legal argument why you won't give us names. It's disappointing. It's bordering on demoralizing, actually. And we feel that you're not fully appreciating the gravity of what's at issue here.
Next week, Steinhoff's disgraced CEO, Marcus Jooste, is expected at Parliament. It's unlikely he'll spill the beans on what happened. He's agreed with Parliament to speak broadly on how the country's financial regulations may have caused the company's shares to collapse. Lester Kivet, Parliament.
The Independent Electoral Commission wants more time to finalize the voters' roll. The Constitutional Court initially ordered the IEC to collect the addresses of every citizen on the roll by June. This deadline was then extended to November. The Commission says it now needs another 7 months. It says it has already collected the details of 87% of citizens. The IEC says an extension will not affect the validity of next year's elections.
The IEC would be perfectly satisfied with either of the routes sketched, either one saying you have all the reasonably available addresses, therefore no need for suspension, or one saying you don't have all the reasonably available addresses, therefore we extend the suspension. But it can't fall between the two stools. That's its anxiety.
The man accused of kidnapping Durban schoolboy Miguel Lowe has been granted bail. Magistrate Mohamed Ibrahim told the state its case against Mohamed Ibrahim is weak. ENCA's Dutton was at the Durban Magistrates Court today.
The public has rallied behind the Lowe family since the disappearance of 9-year-old Miguel in July. Now they're protesting outside the Durban Magistrates Court as the man who's thought to have kidnapped him applies for bail. Mohamed Ibrahim, who's known to the family, was the last person seen with the Sydenham schoolboy. No footage of the accused was allowed to be taken in court. The state opposed bail on the grounds that Ibrahim is a flight risk. But based on the investigating officer's affidavit read out in court, Magistrate Mohamed Ibrahim felt the state's case is too weak. The state's case is hinged on CCTV footage showing Ibrahim with Lowe near his school. But according to the defense, it doesn't conclusively prove he kidnapped the boy. Motala says the state's case is not strong enough, and he's granted Ibrahim bail of 2,500 rand. There were several outbursts in court with Lowe's family and friends shouting at Ibrahim during proceedings. Motala warned the public to refrain from doing so or be removed. But as Ibrahim was being led into the holding cells, Lowe's father, Kirk, struck him with a jacket. Lowe's family is disappointed by the outcome.
I'm highly irate. I'm very frustrated, and I think the community is as well. the mere fact that this man was the last person that was with Miguel, and there's footages that indicates that he did take Miguel and they crossed the road, and what's on the statement does not collate with basically what was presented via footage. And I feel that you can't have a person like this running around on the streets. How many more people, how many other children will be taken?
But they believe the young boy will be found. The case continues in October. Desan Thathia, Durban.
Police have promised to investigate the murder of a Tshwane University of Technology student during a protest thoroughly. Students marching to Police Minister Bheki Cele's office in Pretoria earlier today demanding action. Deputy Police Minister Bongani Mkongi accepted the students' memorandum.
The station commander is being held accountable. I had a meeting with him yesterday here in this office for them to account. They've given me a written report. I'm going through that report, but I'm going to compare that report with the report that I'm going to get from IPID in order for me to make a comparative study and then make my mind on the issue. But I'm definitely sure if that police used R5 to shoot a student, I don't think he's supposed to be in our force.
You also spoke about an issue of opening another case relating to another student that died in this. Just help us clarify.
When I met the student leadership on Monday, some of them came to me, they raised the name of a student that was killed. And that is part and parcel of the memorandum here. So we're going to reopen that case if other people are complaining that there was no proper investigation.
A shoe factory in Durban has been destroyed by fire. It's believed the blaze broke out around 3 this morning. Firefighters battled it until midday. ENCA's Tuba Vilani has more.
All that remains of this factory that produces shoe soles. About 25 firefighters on site for hours.
We received a call at around approximately 4 in the morning. We heard that there was a factory on fire. When we arrived, we could see that the flames were billowing above the building. The roof had caved in already. We were told that the factory that was on fire, the guys here are making shoe sole, basically rubber and all other material that goes with that.
It's not yet clear how the fire started. The factory owners don't want to speak on camera, but believe there is foul play involved.
We will be investigating to find out how the fire started, but the preliminary report from the owners of the factory, they are claiming that they suspect the fire could have been caused by someone else. But we cannot confirm or deny that. The investigation maybe will shed some light on that.
Over 600 people are employed by the company. Unions are already on scene to collect evidence.
From here, we are going to do investigation as to who owns the company, how many workers that are working here, are they in any way, complying with all the standards in terms of the collective bargaining agreements and everything.
No one was injured. Tuba Vilane, Durban.
Well, the king of pop may have been gone for nearly a decade now, but fans still remember him. We'll bring you that story a little bit later on in the show. Do stay with us.